Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara
Hare Krishna. Sorry, Mataji, by mistake. I clicked on that instead of closing the restream. I clicked on that mantra, Mahamantra. Yeah, forgive me. Yeah, so Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaja. Thank you so much for joining today's daily call. So welcome to His Holiness Chandramoli Swami's Maharaj daily call. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Sridevi Mataji with us today to enlighten us on the topic from the Bhagavad Gita verse 2.70 and 2.71. Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your valuable time and association with us today. Please take over, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sudha. Please accept mine. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev. My humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So thank you all very much for joining us online in this daily classes that Guru Maharaj likes us to do. And I humbly request for your blessings, so that I may be able to do justice to the service that has been given to me today. I chose these two particular verses because in these difficult times that we are going through, we sometimes think, where is the peace? When will I be peaceful? When will I be able to achieve peace? Because without peace, how can there be happiness? So as I was reading, these two verses struck me as very beautiful and important for us to understand and apply in our own lives. So that's why I chose them. This is the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 70 and 71. So I'd like to begin with your blessings. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So before I actually begin get into the verse, I need you to know that the internet over here is a little unstable. It can suddenly go off, but it will come back on. So I will rejoin in case that happens, just for your information. Bhagavad Gita 270. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudram apa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti na kama kami. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Purport. Although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same, steady. It is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brink. That is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one has the material body, the demands of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires because of his fullness. A Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities. Therefore, he is like the ocean, always full in himself. Desires may come to him like the waters of the rivers that flow into the ocean. But he is steady in his activities and he is not even slightly disturbed by desires for sense gratification. That is the proof of a Krishna conscious man, one who has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification, although the desires are present. Because he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he can remain steady like the ocean and therefore enjoy full peace. Others, however, who want to fulfill desires even up to the limit of liberation, what to speak of material success, never attain peace. The fruitive workers, the salvationists, and also the yogis who are after mystic powers are all unhappy because of unfulfilled desires. But the person in Krishna consciousness is happy in the service of the Lord, and he has no desires to be fulfilled. In fact, he does not even desire liberation from the so-called material bondage. The devotees of Krishna have no material desires, and therefore they are in perfect peace. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadadikam. So here Srila Prabhupada gives a very beautiful description of the ocean. The ocean is very vast, it's very deep, it's very mighty. And in the rainy season, it is ever being filled with more and more water because all the rivers are flooded, especially in India. Rainy season, there is torrential rain and all the rivers are in full spate and they come and they empty into the ocean, but yet the ocean remains the same. It neither is agitated nor does it cross its brink, its limits. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying, just like that, a person in Krishna consciousness, he will have desires, but he doesn't act on them. He doesn't allow it to affect his own service, his own steadiness in Krishna consciousness. So, we want to reach this point of steadiness, nishtha. Right now, we are very much, knocked around by so many desires for sense gratification and for appeasement of the senses. But if we continue to remain steady in our practice of Krishna consciousness, these material desires will no longer torment us and they will have no ability to sway us or to make us wobble from the path of being steady in devotional service to the Lord. So basically what one must try to strive for is, yes, even though I am unsteady, I will keep going and one day become steady. Because with the material body, the demands for the body for sense gratification will continue to be there. There will always be something very attractive, very pleasing, very much, to our liking. And we will start desiring to have that thing or to have that situation or to have that resource or to have that person or to have that job or that house or that this or that and so on and on and on. But when the devotee understands Krishna is there and he will help me by providing whatever I need, I don't have to struggle unnecessarily and run after things because they will only give me very temporary satisfaction. Better if I engage my time, my energy, my resources in the service of the Lord and humbly request him, what is it that I must get or gain in order to take care of my family, my children, my dependents, and so on. Krishna will show how we must conduct ourselves, how we must work, what we must do, and therefore all the needs will be taken care of. So we don't have to lose ourselves in trying to find something which is what Srila Prabhupada called fallible soldier. So Krishna consciousness means depending on Krishna. Krishna consciousness means understanding that Krishna is the supreme proprietor He is the only enjoyer. He is the only controller, and I am nothing but his servant. Just as a servant cannot demand from the master, give me this, give me that, but he simply has to serve the master. And when the master is pleased, he is happy to give the servant whatever he needs. Similarly, if we faithfully serve the Lord, there is nothing we will be wanting or in need of, because Krishna will take care of us and provide us with everything we need. So we may experience a lot of desires like waves, like the rivers, as the description goes over here. They will come to us like the waves and the rivers that come into the ocean, but we do not act on them. We do not react to that. We do not give way to that as much as we possibly can, because we are still practicing. So sometimes there will be times when we will fall prey to the allurement of Maya. In that case, we simply pick ourselves back up and keep going. So, but the real Krishna conscious devotee, that means one who is fully Krishna conscious, he continues to remain steady and he is not even slightly disturbed by these desires for sense gratification. And Srila Prabhupada writes, that is the proof of a Krishna conscious man. He has lost all desires for material sense gratification because he knows it is all temporary. It is fleeting, it is flickering, and it can never bring permanent happiness because it's on the bodily platform and the body is bound to be finished. So that will also be finished. Instead, he looks for permanent happiness. Yehi samsparsha jha bhoga, 522, in that particular verse, it said, a wise man does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. Instead, he looks for permanent happiness. That means he does not delight in the things which have a beginning and an end. We can go to that verse, Sudha, 522 of Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
And Krishna is explaining that a wise man does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end. And so the wise man does not delight in them. So why will someone choose something which is going to come to an end? We want permanent happiness. We want ever increasing happiness. We want happiness that doesn't stop. So see here, such a beautiful purport. Material sense pleasures are due to contact of the material senses, which are all temporary because the body itself is temporary. A liberated soul is not interested in anything which is temporary. Knowing well the joys of transcendental pleasures, how can a liberated soul agree to enjoy false pleasure? So all these things are very temporary, and actually the so-called happiness, we can go back to the first to the verse we are reading. Thank you, Sudha. Actually, what passes off as happiness in this material world is actually nothing but relief from some distress. We're very, 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 very hungry, and we get a nice meal and we say, wow, I feel so good. This is so nice. This meal was so tasty, so delicious, so satisfying. But again, after a few hours, again you're hungry. We're very thirsty. It's a very hot day and we've been walking for a long time, and finally we come to a lemonade stall. We get a nice, cool, tall glass of lemonade, or here, coconut water or sugarcane juice. And we drink that sugarcane juice or coconut water or lemonade to our heart's content, and we feel, such relief. Finally, I feel so good. I took jugs of, nice, cool drink on this hot day. And then I feel very pleased. But that's again just relief from distress. And like this, so on and so on. Body is very tired. We need to sleep. We need some romance. We need some shelter and so on. But ultimately, again, the same desires come to torment us again and again. So this is because we are in this material body. So yes, the body will require some pacifying. We have to give food. We have to give shelter. We have to give drink. We have to give the basic needs of the body have to be met. There is no denying that. But instead of unnecessarily increasing the desires on the bodily platform, the wise person starts thinking, how can I minimize these things and use my time for the real goal of human life, which is to become Krishna conscious and stop being tormented by the material energy. So when we finally get it, that there is no happiness in this material, fulfilling these material desires, we start looking for the real thing. So even though the desires may be there, the person realizes there's no point acting on these desires because they're never going to fulfill me. They're never going to make me happy. In fact, it comes with a whole set of problems, even if I try to fulfill them. So better if I stick to my Krishna consciousness and fulfill the goal of the human form of life. So the bhakta is the most intelligent. The devotee is the most intelligent of all. As Srila Prabhupada writes over here, the fruitive workers, which means the karmis. The karmis are ever striving to fulfill their desires, ever striving, and they're never happy. Always something else, always something else. I got this job. Oh, now I have to get a promotion. After I get a promotion, I have to throw a big party. I have to impress so many people. For that, I need a big house. Then I need a big car, and it goes on and on and on. They're just tormented by one desire after another. It never reaches a point of satisfaction, and it only leads to more entanglement with the material energy. That's the fruitive worker. Those are the karmis for you. Always working. Materialistic mentality only breeds more and more dissatisfaction and unhappiness because the desire is never fulfilled. Always something else then comes up. Always one is in competition with others. And always one is looking to see, oh, what does that guy have? Oh, I must get it also. It's a very sad state of affairs to be like that, instead of having real peace and real happiness. So the fruitive workers, the salvationists, that means the jnanis, they are wanting liberation. They want to put an end to all the miseries and they want to merge into the Brahma Jyoti. But there is no relationship. There's no loving exchanges. And so they fall down again. They are also unhappy because of the situation. The yogis, they are after mystic powers. They are after siddhis. They are also after something because they want to prove something or they want to lord it over people by their mystic and powers. They want to exert charisma. They want name, fame, position. They want something from the material energy by acquiring these powers. So they are also unhappy. But the bhakta, the devotee, understands what is what, as Prabhupada says. And he is simply happy serving Krishna because he knows simply by serving Krishna, Krishna will take care of me. I don't have to worry so much. I don't have to strive so much. Krishna is protecting me. Krishna is providing for me. He is my Supreme Father. He is the controller of everything. Why will he not provide for his child? And I am his precious child. So once this conviction comes, devotee becomes peaceful. Devotee becomes happy. Devotee does not strive for anything which will mar his relationship with Krishna. On the other hand, he strives to perfect his relationship with Krishna. Therefore, devotees of Krishna, it is explained, have no material desires. We may have spiritual desires. We may want something in order to enhance our devotional service, in order to benefit more and more people, in order to make a greater impact. I want to have a very nice loudspeaker because I'm going to give class tomorrow or something like that. Or I want to have outreach which will impact more and more people and give this message of Krishna consciousness. So like that, one can have spiritual desires, but those desires are also for the service of Krishna. And therefore, if one is sincerely desiring that for service and not for personal self-aggrandizement, then Krishna, seeing the sincerity, will award what is necessary for our devotional service, especially Lord Nityananda. We can pray to Lord Nityananda and he will remove all the obstacles in our devotional service and he will see to it that our devotional service goes unimpaired or is even enhanced. So the trick to becoming peaceful is to become Krishna conscious, which we are all striving for. Right now we are not at peace because we still have lingering. We are karma mishra bhakti, jnana mishra bhakti, jnana mishra bhakti. We are mixed devotees. But as we keep striving, as we keep purifying our hearts by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, very sincerely calling out to Krishna, then Krishna comes and cleans up all desires for material enjoyment from the heart. Vidunoti Surit Satam. Shushusho Shaddadhanasya Shriyatan Swakatha Krishna Ridyantastoya Badrani Vidunoti Surit Satam. That is chapter 1, canto 1, chapter 2, verse number 16. That's the one I'm talking about. Either 16 or 17. I'm not exactly sure. It could be 16. Canto 1, chapter 2. Or maybe Vasudeva Katharuchi. Let's go.
Next one, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah, these two.
Okay.
Shushusho Shabdadanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi San Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevana. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are complete free. No, I'm not looking for this one. I'm looking for the next one. I think it's 17. Vidunoti Surit Satam. Srinvata Sakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Ridyantasto Yabhadrani. Yeah. Vidunoti Surit Satam, 17. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous and properly heard and chanted. So Krishna personally takes charge of the devotee and he helps the devotee to get rid of all the material contamination and be situated more and more in pure Krishna consciousness. So we'll go to verse number 71 also, because that's like a, twin verse almost. I would like to speak on that also, and then we can open up for questions and comments. That is 271, please. There we go. Vihai kaman yah sarvan pumams charati nishprihaha nirmamo nira ahankaraha sa shantim adhigacchati. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. Purport. To become desireless means not to desire anything for sense gratification. In other words, desire for becoming Krishna conscious is actually desirelessness. To understand one's actual position as the eternal servitor of Krishna without falsely claiming this material body to be oneself and without falsely claiming proprietorship over anything in the world is the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness. One who is situated in this perfect stage knows that because Krishna is the proprietor of everything, everything must be used for the satisfaction of Krishna. Arjuna did not want to fight for his own sense satisfaction. But when he became fully Krishna conscious, he fought because Krishna wanted him to fight. For himself, there was no desire to fight. But for Krishna, the same Arjuna fought to his best ability. Real desirelessness is desire for the satisfaction of Krishna, not an artificial attempt to abolish desires. The living entity cannot be desireless or senseless, but he does have to change the quality of the desires. A materially desireless person certainly knows that everything belongs to Krishna. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. And therefore, he does not claim false proprietorship over anything. We'll look at this verse, Ishavasham idam saram, that's in Sri Upanishad. This transcendental knowledge is based on self-realization, namely, knowing perfectly well that every living entity is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna in spiritual identity, and that the eternal position of the living entity is therefore never on the level of Krishna or greater than him. This understanding of Krishna consciousness is a basic principle of real peace. So real peace can be attained by understanding the principles of spiritual life. Let's take a look at Ishopanishad, this particular verse, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. It's a very important verse to understand. Let's go there.
Which mantra, Mataji? Mantra.
The mantra one. Yeah. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena taktena bhunjita ma grida kasya svidhanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. See how beautifully it is explained over here. Everything is owned and controlled by the Lord. He is the supreme proprietor. He is the only enjoyer. He is the only controller. And he is the best friend of all living entities. So when we understand I'm nothing but a servant and I'm supposed to serve my master to his satisfaction, I'm supposed to devote everything, mind, body, senses, intelligence, words, everything to serve my Lord God Almighty, then we are coming to our real position of understanding who we really are. I'm nothing but a servant of Krishna. Ekale Ishvara Krishna, Ara Sabhabhritya. Ishwar, there's only one controller, Krishna, everyone else is servant. And Krishna is very inclined towards his devotees. He's very loving. He's Bhrita Vatsala. He's inclined towards his devotees. He loves his devotees. And he's very happy to provide. He's not niggardly, He doesn't just throw crumbs at his devotees. He keeps them nicely. He keeps them well so that they can do their services very nicely. Just as the very rich proprietor of a firm is very happy with his employees and handsomely rewards them, similarly, Krishna, being God himself, he gives the devotees everything that he needs to carry out his services nicely. Now, he will not give you something which will spoil your devotional life. Sometimes devotees think, why, And actually, King Yudhishthira asked this question, how is it that the devotees of Lord Shiva, Lord Shiva lives in cemeteries, he's covered in ashes, he wears snakes around his neck, and he just wears one tiger skin around his waist, he doesn't have a house of his own, but his devotees are very opulent. They're very wealthy. And the devotees of Lord Vishnu, who is the husband of the goddess of fortune, they're always poverty-stricken. How is it like this? And so the explanation goes that Ashutosh, Shiv is very, very easily pleased. So whatever the devotee asks, he just grants it very easily, even if it's not good for him. But Lord Vishnu is not like that. He will not give something which will spoil the devotee's devotional life and his progressive march back to Krishna. In fact, Krishna will take away things from you. When he gives you special mercy, he actually takes away everything from you so that you have no choice but to just call out, hey, Govinda, and surrender. Because he wants you to come back quickly. He doesn't want you to waste your time here in this material world. So whatever Krishna does is actually all good for the devotee. We don't realize it when it's happening, but actually it is for the good of the devotee, because Krishna doesn't want his part and parcel precious souls to be rotting here in this material world full of sorrow and pain and misery and difficulties, and every moment there's something or the other going on. There's no peace here. So Krishna wants us all back with him in the spiritual world, where life is eternal, joyful, blissful, peaceful, loving, ever-increasing joy of lovingly serving Krishna unlimitedly in our spiritual bodies, with full satisfaction of serving Krishna very nicely. That we cannot get on this level. We are still confined, we are limited. Even if we want to serve Krishna very nicely, we cannot, because our bodies, after some time, we get tired, we have to sleep, and so on and so forth. But the advanced devotees conquer even sleep. Like look at Srila Prabhupada. He hardly slept at all. He simply was devoting all his energies to serving Krishna. But that's a very exalted level. The 6 Goswamis would hardly sleep 1.5 to 2 hours, but all the time they were just absorbed in Krishna consciousness. But all those things are at a very, very high level. But Srila Prabhupada did say this is a movement for reducing our eating and sleeping. That means we're getting our spiritual body back actually. we're working in such a way, we're serving in such a way that we are becoming more spiritualized. And so our bodies, minds, intelligence, senses, everything is getting spiritualized, Krishnaized in this process of Krishna consciousness. And that is the way to become Krishna conscious. So let's go back to 71, Sudha, 271, please.
Yes, Mataji, I'm here.
Yeah. So I wanted to I wanted us to meditate on these two verses because today we are so much surrounded by unpeace. You know, there's no peace anywhere. Everywhere you look around you, there's so much difficulty. So how is the devotee going to get peace? By following very strictly the process of Krishna consciousness, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Here is where we are going to find the peace our soul is longing for. Here is where we are going to reconnect with Krishna on a very deep and meaningful level. So therefore, we want to make our chanting more and more focused, more and more pure. We want to move from Namaprad to Namabhas and from Namabhas to Shuddhanam. We want to make progress along the path of bhakti by purifying our chanting and making it better and better and better. So if we want to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, where should we put our energies? In our chanting. In our chanting. And the secret to rapid advancement in Krishna consciousness is to rise early in the morning and chant our rounds in the Brahma Muhurta hours. And the secret to very rapid advancement is chanting all your rounds before Mangalarti. Now that may be very difficult for many of us. Personally speaking, I have not been able to do all that, but at least we can try. At least we can try. Even if we chant one round before Mangalarti, that's progress. Then the day will come and it'll say, oh, this is so wonderful. Let me chant 2 rounds. And like that, little by little, we'll make progress. So every round we chant before Mangalarti is 4 times as valuable as the rounds we chant after Mangalarti. That's how powerful it is. So actually, I'm preaching to myself over here. You know, if we can get up early in the morning and chant in the Brahma Muhurta hours, we are actually giving ourselves the best gift possible of Krishna consciousness. So let us all try. And the world is watching. The world is watching and it desperately is looking for answers. And we have the answers. Srila Prabhupada said, this is the moment which will save the world in its darkest hour. So therefore, each one of us has to carry that torch of responsibility and bring light to this world which is suffering in darkness of ignorance. So let us all try and Krishna will help. Thank you very much. We can now open up for questions, comments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for this very, very beautiful class. Your classes are always very beautiful and very enthusiastically you explain us. Thank you so much. And thank you for explaining on these desires. As you said quickly, I'll just summarize. You know, desires like a person who is like a Krishna conscious is always steady because his desires are not material desires. He's very happy because all his desires like in fullness, they are completely Krishna conscious. And you explained us like, you know, material desires, they keep tormenting us. So we have to, you know, have a complete faith in Krishna and, you know, continue our devotional service. So eventually we will become steady in, you know, Krishna consciousness. And also you explain like desires is doesn't mean that you should be desirelessness. We should have a desire, but we should purify our desires. That is, you know, spiritualize our desires. That is by being Krishna consciousness. So, and last powerful statement you gave, how can we invest all our energies is like in chanting. How can we progress in Krishna consciousness? By chanting. So when we chant, we will progress, and giving us like a trick to progress is like get up before like, you know, Mangalarti and chant, and that is the only way we can progress in Krishna consciousness, and we can purify our desires, yeah, and depend on Krishna completely. Yeah, thank you, Mataji, for the very, very beautiful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you for listening patiently, and thank you for the nice summarization.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. So, Hare Krishna, devotees, please go ahead. If you have any questions, comments, or realizations, you can unmute or you can type in the chat box or you can raise your hand. Yeah, I see Namrata Mataji only. So, Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to our dear Guru Maharaj, all glories to our God family, all glories to the
Please accept mine. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, all glories to our God family. Jai.
So, Mataji, you mentioned about false ego, and my question is regarding that. How do we measure a false ego in ourselves? Like we may notice sometimes we may notice it externally sometimes, but how do we understand it at our subtle level?
It's immeasurable. You're so strongly identified with the body. You know, the false ego is always telling you you're the body, you're a woman, you're rich, you're poor, you're intelligent, you're so clever, you're a mother, you're a this, you're a that. You know, it's always telling us things of the bodily nature. But the real ego is that I'm nothing but a servant of Krishna. So when you put I am and put anything else other than servant of Krishna, that's false ego. That's false ego. We have very strong identification with the body, very strong. We are thinking, you know, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm a woman. Gender is very strong identity, you know, I am this, I am that, I am that. So a false ego, boy, who can measure it? The very fact that you're here in the material world, having a material body means disease condition of life. Disease condition of life, because normal is having a spiritual body. So who can measure the false ego? Who can measure? It's impossible to measure it. But we can reduce the hold the false ego has on us by developing our real ego, by practicing Krishna consciousness, by getting purified. We are coming to our real ego. I'm nothing but a servant of Krishna.
So developing more and more humility in Krishna consciousness will eradicate our false ego.
Absolutely.
Am I understanding it?
Yeah, not just humility, all the qualities, service attitude, human, adambam, amanitva, that means pridelessness, humility, service attitude, all the things that are components of devotional service. As we develop our devotional life more and more, that means our real ego is coming up more and more, our false ego will reduce accordingly.
Okay. So this process itself will do the job.
Yes, yes, absolutely. This is the only process which will do the job. There is no other way.
Okay, thank
There is
you.
no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way.
Hare Nam eva kevalam. Kalau nasti eva gatiranyata.
You said it. Beautiful. This is it.
Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. Nice question.
Thank you, Mataji, for that nice question. Devotees, any more questions, comments? It's a very nice, wonderful topic and so many things we can learn. If you have any realizations also, I would encourage to share. Yes, Asha Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Sridevi Mataji, Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble feet.
Please accept mine. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev.
All glories to Maharaj Gurudev. Mataji, I had two questions. First question is that what is the difference between body and self?
Right?
Yeah.
Body and self. One is the real you, one is the false you. The body is just a dress which you have taken on in this lifetime, which you will discard at the time of death and go on to take another body. Body changes all the time. It is growing, it is changing, it dwindles, it dies. The soul never changes. The real self is completely spiritual, eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. That's the real self. And that's the real you.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. The second question is that every soul's journey and relationship with Lord Krishna is different, and only Lord Krishna knows the depth of that relationship, or what that soul needs, or what is the soul's necessities and requirements. Krishna knows everything. So does one read the scriptures with the intention for getting initiated, or to get knowledge and get closer to God? Because when you read the scriptures, the heart becomes clean and empty for the Lord to fill in with his blessings or whatever he wishes to. But I heard sometimes when I hear that some devotees say that, that devotee got 100% in that exam of ISKCON Bhakti or devotees exam, and it takes 2 years to get initiated. So my question is that isn't it that we should read as a devotee or as a spirit soul? We are reading the scriptures to get closer to him rather than getting 100% in that particular subject or whatever it is, without designating myself with the marks or even the knowledge I get from reading, because it is all his knowledge. Whether if he is giving it, it is his knowledge. So the basic need or the actual reality is that the only need should be Krishna himself. It should not be about the marks, or it should not be about even the knowledge, because everything is his, nothing is mine. So I had that, sometimes my mind goes, oh, I should get 100% only, then I'll get initiated. I should be in this level only, then I feel that I'm not reading the scriptures. For me personally, I'm not reading the scriptures to get initiated. For me personally, I'm reading the scriptures so that I cleanse my heart after, for the Lord to fill in that grace and mercy that he has already upon the spirit soul. And it is not about me, as you said, it is about the soul's journey. So why is it that sometimes I feel sad that, oh, it take 2 years. Okay, so now what am I going? What if I die in between the 2 years? The body goes off. What will I do? So those things come up sometimes. But again, I say no. I know the spirit soul is very strong, and God knows what the spirit soul needs. And I left everything to him. I trust in him. He's the one who is going to take me across the river, whether I'm initiated or not initiated. So it's all his mercy. So what should I do, Mataji? Just please guide me.
Very nice question. I would highly recommend that you keep going. Don't get your head into a tizzy about, oh, 2 years. Now in 2 years, this should happen. Oh, I should get initiated. Oh, this much should happen. I should get this many marks. What you're doing is absolutely perfect for you. You're doing things to advance your Krishna consciousness. You're doing things to gain real knowledge. You're not doing things to get the marks, to get a certain degree of proficiency in scriptures, to get initiated within a certain time frame. Those are not goals for a devotee. Devotee is really trying to develop his relationship with Krishna, and reawakening that relationship is what Krishna consciousness is about. So, Adav Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya is third stage. So it sounds like from what you described, you have developed a lot of faith, and maybe you're even picking up from previous lifetimes. Only Guru Maharaj can know exactly all about that. I wouldn't know. But increasing our faith, following the process of Krishna consciousness, chanting our rounds, and eventually your heart will tell you that I want to get initiated. That desire comes that we want to solidify, deepen, strengthen, and formalize our connection with the Guru by taking initiation from him, because that's actually the real connection. That's where we completely surrender our life, ourselves, to the spiritual master and humbly beg for his guidance from that point on to make nice progress in bhakti. I hope that's clear.
Yes, Mataji, quite clear, very clear, Mataji. And also, I heard from Amrendra Prabhu Maharaj, and I have taken the notes because I always keep it written so that I don't forget it. Always remind myself. Daily prayer, morning and evening, is that Aprada Sahasrani Kriyante Har Nisha Maya Dasoham Iti Mam Matva Shamasha Madhusudana. So I always pray this to Lord, and I tell him that I am only holding hope on you, Lord Krishna, that you will accept me with all my disqualifications.
Yes, beautiful prayer. Very nice. I'm first time I'm hearing it. Such a beautiful prayer.
Yeah,
Which canto is it from?
it says the meaning of this prayer is that, Mataji, thousands of offenses I have performed every day and night, but thinking of me as your servant, kindly forgive those, O Madhusudana.
Nice. Very beautiful. Jai. Thank you for sharing that.
Hari Bol,
Hare-
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji, for sharing your beautiful realizations, and thank you, Sridevi Mataji, for beautiful answers. Devotees, any more questions for Mataji? Okay, Mataji. Mataji, I have a question about desires. As you mentioned, when we have the material desires, it leads to unhappiness, right? So even after coming to spiritual world, also we experience in spiritual desires also when we have when it comes to pleasing spiritual master or serving or any spiritual activity, also it gives some unhappiness because we are not very doing in a right way. So how should we handle those things? Like,
Keep going, because these things are part of the growing up process. We are still learning. We are like little children who are still learning to write ABC, scroll some squiggles. The child in the beginning, he just, he says, this is this. Oh, I've done ABC. Oh, I've done 1, 2, 3. And it's all squiggles. So we are very neophyte at the moment. And whatever little bit we are doing, the spiritual master is purifying and offering to Krishna. Krishna is being served by millions of goddesses of fortune in the spiritual world. Millions, trillions, zillions, who knows? And their service is perfect. But ours, we are just learning. We are just in the process of beginning our Krishna conscious journey. So we may not be very perfect, and we may also feel bad that we are not doing so great. But that's okay. That's okay. That will spur us to do better. It's good to feel, oh, I could have done that better, rather than, feeling, oh, I did great job. Everybody look at me. It's always good to feel, oh, I could have done that much better. And it spurs you actually, as you begin the journey of Krishna consciousness, you start thinking, how can I do this service better next time around? What are the mistakes I made? How can I improve on those? So that's natural. That's part of the learning. We are perfecting. We are on the way to perfection. We are not perfect yet by any means. We are still learning. So that's all right. That's all right. We just keep going.
okay, thank you, Mataji. So it's a gradual progress, so we should keep doing it, continue to
Right. Practice makes a man perfect.
Yes.
Krishna consciousness means practice, practice, practice. So as we practice, we will get proficient at doing something.
Yes. Yes, Mataji.
Never feel discouraged. Never feel discouraged, because Krishna consciousness is so wonderful that you can only expect it to get better.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, very nice. Thank you. We have some more questions. I have one question, but I can ask in the end because I see devotees raised hand. Is it okay, Namrata Mataji? I can go with Sakshi Mataji and come back to you.
Completely.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So, Sakshi Mataji, please go ahead. Mataji, you're on mute. You're on mute, Mataji. We cannot hear you.
Hare Krishna, Sridevi Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. And I have one very basic question, is that you said about Lord Krishna gives us only how much we deserve in this lifetime. And if he takes away something, is it that he wants us to remember him when a particular desire has been taken away, that we remember him at that time? Is it that the case, or he wants us to desire for more, that we we strive hard more? Like example, if we are earning one particular amount of salary, but due to some reason he takes it away, and then after that we don't remember him at that point of time, but we go on earning more, we strive for more. So is it that he takes away the desire so that remember, we should remember him? Is that the case, Mataji?
Okay, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev. So in this particular case where you're describing that the job is taken away and you're forgetting Krishna, that's not his intention. Krishna never wants us to forget him. In fact, he's trying all the time to get us to remember him, not forget him. So he has not done anything to make you forget him, or he doesn't take away something to make you forget. He does things in order to bring us closer to him. So he might sometimes give something also. But in general, it is said that when Krishna wants to show special mercy to a devotee, he takes everything away. Because when the devotee has nothing to fall back on, and then he calls out, "Hey Govinda, save me. I'm surrendering to you." So in all instances, Krishna wants us to remember him.
Okay.
In fact, he says, "Always think of me." 18th chapter, verse 64. Is it 65? 65, I think. Yeah. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishasi satyam te prachijane priyosime. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So Krishna wants us to remember him all the time, because then we will remember who we are. Eternally his part and parcels, and always connected to him in loving service. Even 15:15 of Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, should I share
Yeah, Sarvasya Chaham Riddhi Sannivishto Mata Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha Vedaischa Sarve Aham Eva Vedyaha Vedantakrit Vedavid Eva Chaham. 15:15, 15:15. Okay, 1864 you went to. Yeah, I spoke on 15. I am seated in everyone's heart. Yeah. Sarvasya Chaham Riddhi Sannivishto Mata Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. So I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. So if someone wants to forget Krishna, he will make arrangements so that that person can forget Krishna. But if someone wants to remember Krishna, he will make all arrangements so that you can remember Krishna. Right? So Krishna is very reciprocal. He responds to the desires we have. So if we desire Krishna, he will make the arrangements so that we can go back to him. Desham satata yuktanam vajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Is that okay?
Yes, Mataji. Yes. Thank you so much for the lovely explanation. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshi. Hare Krishna. Beautiful question. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji, for that question. Yes, Namrata Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, this is just a little follow-up from Asha Mataji's question. If it is secular studies, we can understand that we don't want to strive for, we should not endeavor a lot to strive for marks. But this is about scriptural studies where Prabhupada has given this. So each and every word is a nectar. Each and every word is worth implying in our life. So shouldn't we strive for more? I was just little, contemplating on this. There's no offense here to Asha Mataji, but I was just contemplating.
Contemplating that we should strive for more of what?
In the initiations, when we are trying to study scriptures, when we are trying to look for marks, then shouldn't, because here we are trying to study scriptures, which is given by an exalted personality, which is Srila Prabhupada. And each and every word is a nectar here. Each and every word is worth realizing in our life. So shouldn't we strive for, getting marks, because it is worth getting marks. So I was just contemplating on that.
And everybody has different motivations. The motivation is ultimately, what is our motivation? To get the knowledge. Marks will automatically come. When you're very well versed in that knowledge, when you're very good, when you're very proficient, marks will automatically come. So our focus is not marks. Our focus is on understanding deeply the subject matter and gaining the real knowledge. We are not looking to just, oh, what's the question? Oh, they'll ask this question, I'll write this down. We're trying to really understand the subject matter. Marks will automatically come. So our focus shouldn't be so much, I must get 100 out of 100, I must get 79 out of 80, not like that. Our focus should be, I want to really understand the Bhagavad Gita. I want to understand the message that Krishna is giving us. Marks will come automatically.
Okay, thank you. I was just contemplating. There's no offense at Asha Mataji. I was
No.
just thinking.
No, that's okay, Mataji. Even my question also was the same thing, but I just put addition that my as Mataji Sridevi Mataji very well said, that my intention in studying the scriptures is not to get 100 marks, but to understand it, live the teachings of Lord Krishna, and become more closer to him. That is my goal, and that is the reason why I'm still surviving. I remember Maharaj, I had asked Maharaj that when he came to Toronto, when I first met him, my first question was that, why did Krishna take away everything from me? He has not given me anything in materialistic thing, nothing like the normal people, everything everybody has. I don't have anybody and anything also. Why did Krishna do that to me? Then Maharaj said only one single sentence. He said, he took everything away from you. You should be happy for that, because he wants you to get closer to him. So my intention reading the scriptures is to become closer to him as much as possible, so that it's only him and only him wherever I see and whatever I do. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. I think it is very nice to hear that from you. A lot of realizations I think you have in a very short time. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, yes, wonderful realization, Mataji. Thank you so much, Asha Mataji. Yeah, devotees, any more questions for Mataji? Last minute questions or comments or realizations? I don't see any questions. So Mataji, it's not a question, but just my understanding. You said one point, I really liked it. So one can have a spiritual desires, and those desires, it should lead to service to Krishna, Lord Krishna. So, I mean, even though we have a spiritual desires, it's like a constant check on those desires also, whether those desires are taking you to Krishna or it's taking away. So that way we can differentiate whether it's a fruitive or it's a spiritual desire. Right, Mataji?
Yeah, because Maya is very tricky, She will present all kinds of allurements. You really need that car. You really, really need that car. Hey, you can do so much service with that car. You can do the Bhoga run. You can drop devotees to the railway station and airport. You can do so many. So she will try to convince you that you need a brand new, beautiful red Mercedes Benz or whatever. So there are so many allurements, so many tricks. That is why we need the guidance of the Guru at every point, because the mind, and that too because we have been associated with the material energy for so long, she will present so many things in the way of, allurements. So we have to be very, very careful on the path of bhakti and constantly be checking in with the spiritual master before we contemplate such things like buying a big house and a big car and a big education and a this and a that and everything.
Yes. Very true, Mataji. It's a constant check. We think it is a spiritual desire, but it may not be a spiritual. So we have to keep checking, like you made a nice point. I really like that, whether that desire is giving you to the service to Krishna conscious or it's away. Thank you for that, Mataji. I think Asha Mataji, I see your hand raised. Do you have anything?
Yeah. Mataji, I wanted to share something with you. You said that you have to constantly remind yourself and check yourself. So in the same context, Amrendra Prabhu Maharaj had once said that every 15 minutes in a day, you have to check within yourself that previous 15 minutes, what I have done for Krishna, to please Krishna. So in that case, it happens when every 15 minutes you check what you did to please Krishna, then automatically your, the U-turn will happen automatically without effort by his grace. Because if you had watched YouTube or Facebook or anything like that, or you had done something which would feel like later you feel guilty, or I should not have done this, that will stop automatically, because everything that you do, it will be to please Krishna. So every 15 minutes you have to remind yourself that what did I do? And I do that every 15 minutes, that 15 minutes before, what did I do? So, okay, I did cooking. So that was to please Krishna. I did this. This is to please Krishna. So this has really helped me personally a lot, not to go into that direction, which is going to the materialistic, mundane world or existence.
Beautiful. Very, very wonderful. Thank you for sharing with all of us. I'm very sure all of us can apply this and try to pull ourselves back before it's too late.
Yes,
every 15 minutes sounds like a really good plan. For me, I think it's every 5 minutes because of my brain. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Definitely we'll apply that. Yeah. I don't see any questions, Mataji. Should we end the call here? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Guru Maharaj, Jai Sadhu Sangha, Jai Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. My humble obeisances.
Thank you for the beautiful class, Mataji. Vancha Kalpa, Tarubesha, Kripa Satu Bhevacha, Patitan Pavanyu. Hare Krishna. Yeah,
Hare Krishna. Beautiful class.
beautiful.
As always, thank you so much, Sridevi Mataji. Beautiful class. Hare Krishna.